everybody, it's Louise from LA Video Productions, and guess what? It is Wednesday from It is Wednesday with Weezy. Here we go, getting my tongue all tied up already. And it is the third week of the month, so that means it's time for another edition of my little show called The Shit I Used to Do. Yes, it is not what you think it is. It's not about people's wild lives or anything like that. That would be for another channel. But we talk to people. I have on guests who have had transitions in their lives. Either they have chose to make a transition and choose to do something else with their life, or like many of us, things were kind of forced on us and we had to reinvent ourselves to be able to come back out here for what we're doing now. And I keep talking about getting that word out of my vocabulary. We talk about those transitions and the things that they go through and maybe some of the emotional ups and downs. But that's what we're here for. And today we have Darla Desiderio. And if I butcher your name, please correct me, Darla. I'm so sorry.
Louise.
And she is the author of the Gauge the Whippet series, and we're going to learn all about that and other exciting things about Miss Darla. So welcome, Miss Darla. How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here, Louise, on Wednesdays with Weezy. This is exciting. And why don't you just call me Darla?
Okay.
And yes.
I'm just going to be honest. I am not really good at, there's some names that they get tied up with my tongue, and it's a thing that I've had since I was a small child. And it's just a
that's okay.
Impediment on my part. So,
well, you know, Louise, you are a video producer, and if you were great at everything, I think perfection is boring. So you're fine.
Oh, well, thank you, Darla.
Thank you. You have my blessing. Thank you for the invitation.
I'm so honored.
Thank you for the invitation to be here. And yes, I am an author of a children's chapter book series titled Gauge the Flying Whippet, and it's for ages 7 to 10.
Awesome. So Darla, so that's what you're doing now. But you had a life before this.
Yes.
What was it that you used to do in your past life before you became a book author?
Well, before I began writing, you know, I always had stories in my mind's eye. And then it does take courage to put pen to paper, you know, because, when people...
You're showing your vulnerability because you're sharing your innermost thoughts.
You're right. And, you know, when you create your art, when you create your video, it's, you always impart a piece of you as an artist, right? I do that to the reader. You do so in the videos you produce. So I was still am a career salesperson. I was in the end zone of my life catching that football. And so a career salesperson means I've had 20 years of experience as a top 3% finisher.
Wow.
Always consistently throughout my career. And I've sold products and services, and I've been an account executive, and I've hunted new business development manager. And I love sales. I love the challenge, the excitement of it, of presenting to someone a product or service that I know has value. And then they say, yes, I want that. That's exciting. So sales.
So if you don't mind sharing, what happened that the full-timeness of that, was there something that happened in your life that kind of took a back seat, or, you know, what happened there to push you into, okay, I'm going to take this childhood dream of being a writer and become a writer?
Yes, there was and were. So about 4 years ago, my life started to transition. And some of the decisions I made certainly contributed to that. I know if you're not making any decisions, you're not out there doing anything, you're not going to have failures and successes. So about 4 years ago, my industry changed, and I had experienced layoffs, and I had health challenges, and I was kind of without health insurance, and I had a couple of car accidents, and it was like this
Oh,
perfect storm of just adversity. And
okay.
the status quo that I knew, I defined myself as a sales
Mhm.
professional, and I had, you know, I had a financial position and a social position, and every aspect of my life, I suffered loss, over time.
Right, right.
Yeah. So that would kind of describe the transition that brought me to, uh, you know, to talk with you here today.
So tell us about Gage. How did Gage
Mhm.
what's the inspiration behind Gage the Whippet series? Was it something from your childhood that
Mm.
invoked you to be able to tap in and write these series for?
Yes. So, transition just conjures up so much emotion. I'm one of those adults, and I think that, um, especially when we're stressed, we all go back to the child inside us.
Mhm.
So that's an adult temper tantrum.
Yeah.
No.
I have had those.
Yes. Truth. Hashtag
Ugly,
truth.
but you know what? Sometimes you just have to get it all out
You do.
too.
You do. So to answer your question, yes, my memories of a child at 7, 8, 9 years old are really still vivid, and much of them I incorporate into my book. So I writing to that audience, that tween kid, kids that go from little kidhood to tween kidhood.
Yeah, the
I really,
tweeners.
yeah, I remember that, um,
It can
and
be
it's a
very awkward
It is. It's
stage
a
of life.
difficult time. Yeah, they just kind of wake up. I mean, every mom can relate to the fact that their sweet kid, shuffles shuffles bleary-eyed into the kitchen, is ready for their chocolate chip pancakes that they've always excited them, and
Yeah,
now they're like, no, I'm too old for that.
I don't
So
like that. It's not cool anymore, Mom.
it's
I'm
not
so
cool.
past that.
Yeah, and every kid wants to be cool, but so it's a time where they're figuring out, where is my place in the world, and I write characters that are in transition, from little kidhood to into tweenhood and looking for their place in the world, and I write them a dog mentoring character. And I decided on a dog, Louise, because dogs are so a part of our culture and our
Oh,
households,
they are.
aren't they? And they're
They're so
deciding,
loving and they're so well,
yeah,
Ellie
yes,
Video Productions is, the face of my beagle Ellie too.
yes.
So, and it's that warm embrace. It's like, oh, it's a dog. It causes excitement. They want to know more about the dog.
They do. Yeah. And Gage, I do have a whippet. His name is Gage. Um, and, but it's so much more than, the book series, it's really not about a dog. It's really about what I've just described. It's about kids in transition. And I write them a dog mentoring character, which is a whippet. And they are a cousin to the greyhound, and
Okay.
they are a sight hound. So I wanted a dog that, if you ever look into the beautiful almond shaped eyes of a whippet, you know, their eyes speak to you. They communicate their every emotion with their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I wanted to gift my readers with the perfect dog mentoring character. So in my first book, it's Gage. In my second book, I do have a new character, the Scrapper. And then in my third book that I'm working on, Gage makes an appearance again. So,
Okay.
mhm,
Okay. Very good. And
yes.
then you also have it's called a correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a color zine.
Oh, yeah. So I have the coloring zine, Zine. And a zine it's like a mini magazine. It's mostly visual, right? And less words. And I thought, just like you said, like the 7 to 10-year-old, they want to be cool. They don't want to be a little kid anymore. So the coloring zine, I have one
Can
over
you
here.
show it? Yeah,
Yeah.
show us your stuff.
So this is a coloring zine, because 7 to 10 years old, they still like to color and express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But this is cool. And it has prompting pages that asks them to write as well, draw and write. Mhm.
Okay.
And dog wisdom badges. It'll give them, like dogs give you a hug with their eyes.
Oh,
So,
can you show us an example of the? the badge?
Absolutely. So a dog is a loyal friend. So let's see if I can show you. So here's these are chapter illustrations from both of my books. I don't know if you
Okay.
can see this.
Yes, we
Can you?
can. All
Okay.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it shows
Okay.
up right really well.
So here's the dog wisdom badge, and they're throughout the coloring zine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then at the bottom, I prompt them. I'll have to read this now. It says, there's different prompts, Louise, like create a colorful drawing as a gift for someone. And you see, I also put a frame around them.
Mm-hmm.
So they could
It's a piece of
either,
art that
yeah,
is framed.
they
And
could put it up on their wall, which you can relate to. You have art on your wall, I see.
I do. I
Mhm.
do.
Yeah, so this is the Gauge the Zine, and then there's 2 books now in the series. One is Gauge the Flying Whippet is the first book 1, and then the Scrapper is book 2.
Awesome.
And I also have a tote bag. Do you want to see the tote
Oh,
bag?
so you have merchandise too
I
to
do. I do. This was so much fun. A great friend created this for me. Her brand is called The Crafty Dictator. So here's the Gauge.
Okay, I'm going to say you need to move the handle so that we can see that logo much better.
There we go. Video
And
producer.
and who developed that for you?
The Crafty Dictator. Um,
Oh,
yeah, and then on the back is one of the chapter illustrations.
oh, that is adorable.
One of my favorites, yeah. So it's a crafty
Or
dictator.
as the tweeners would say these days, totally adorps.
Totally adorable. You see why they need a zine?
Yes.
They need a zine. So yes, it's just I hope the more children that I can reach with this series, the better.
So, in writing, Gage, was there things in your childhood, the scenes? Do you draw from your childhood experiences in order to create the scenes that are in your books?
Absolutely, yes. So some, yes, like especially in the first book, the woods behind my home were my sanctuary. It's where I went to my imaginary place.
Can totally relate with that. Growing up on the farm,
Where did you go?
I was in the farm was in northeastern Pennsylvania, but sometimes it was hay mows. Sometimes it was near a brook
Okay.
because we had creeks and brooks, and then we had a wooded area too. And I would walk or ride a bicycle. As I got to be towards 13, I knew how to drive a car, so I would drive the car. And I was a bad kid. I started smoking when I was 13, so I'd sneak off and smoke and create and get lost in my own head.
I would have never, you have such an angelic face. So you not only, you cuss, and then you smoked when you were 13.
I did. I
Okay.
did. The truth is revealed.
Hey, that's what Wednesdays with Weezy's is all about.
That's what Wednesdays is, being your true, authentic self.
Yes.
And so I would be very disingenuous to my people if I did not share the shit I used to do.
I have this visual of you behind like the wheel of this pickup with, a cigarette but hanging out of your mouth,
My
blue-eyed,
dad
blonde
had a
hair.
Ford F-150,
Oh,
two-tone green and cream. Mm-hmm.
how fun. No,
And a big old stick shift too. It wasn't, any fancy cute stick shift. It was like the big
yeah.
piece of wire and the knob, and you really had to. It was industrial.
Now, let take me back to that creek that you had. Did you have tadpoles and frogs and all kinds of, living creatures there?
Oh yeah, we did. We did in the springtime. I would like to go and look for those types of
And
things, and then
discover them.
yeah, and I'm a real I love flowers, so. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
Here, here in the South, we get crocuses and daffodils in January and February,
Yes.
and now in March. That does not happen up there until April, May, and it's just like, oh, please give us some color, give us some color. And so I would resonate. I'm going, I need some color in my life. I need some life back because winter would be so long. And I have a whole little philosophy thing about living in winter, the season of winter, and then the spirit of winter and the things that we go through.
Yeah.
and then go looking forward to the spring, because it's like, I need some, that dead stuff is chopped off. I need some renewal,
Yeah, written needs some life.
and I need some life back. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
understand.
that's a side conversation.
Oh, no, I know that's another show. So yes, I do go back to my own childhood, and especially in the first book. And I grew up a dyslexic.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, so that was I think when you, and at that time and years ago, it was misunderstood, and
Yes.
you it was an isolating experience, no matter how supportive your family is.
Darla, I can relate to that, because both of my boys grew up. One had a learning disability, and one is diagnosed. He was diagnosed as a very young child as with ADHD,
Okay.
and as a child you feel different,
Hmm.
but then and you don't understand why, but
Hmm.
then for me it was the mom side,
Hmm.
and the struggle. So
Yeah. Yes. And it's, parenting is an art.
it is an art, and but my heart goes out to you, because I a little semi-diagnosed with ADHD myself, and so I always felt a little bit different. And
Who you?
me, I'm not different. Yeah.
Yeah. But that makes you wonderfully talented, and you do, the special things. I know about ADHD, but I don't know intimate details of it. But, you know, most dyslexics really, they learn, right? Because the written word is so challenging, that
Mm-hmm.
they learn to see the world from a panoramic point of view, and to create visual pictures through
Yes.
language.
Audio visual. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's I believe that led me into sales, because I create a visual picture, right, of this product or service, and it's exciting and fun, and you put all the bells and whistles on it, and that's where fiction writing is really a wonderful expression for all of that.
Yeah.
So I think that forever, if I see a child who's struggling, I just cannot look the other way, and that's really the passion behind the series. Now, the second book is not an environment that I relate to. It comes from a conversation I had with a very old friend of mine. The Scrapper is the second one in the series, and it was about his struggle, and he was an abused kid. So that world was so interesting to create, because it was something so different from how I grew up. So
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Well, that's wonderful that, you are able to show somebody else's world
Yeah.
and bring light
Mhm.
and a more meaning, uh, maybe more clarity, more understanding, um,
Yes. Clarity is a
instead of
great
a
word. Yeah.
stereotype type.
Right, right. Yeah, knowledge is power for sure, right?
For sure, for
Uh-huh.
sure. So now we also talked about something, and when we were talking about you coming on the show, you have something um, very exciting,
Mhm.
something else that you're writing.
Oh, yeah.
What would that be, Miss Darla?
Oh, Louise. So I call it my big girl book, because
Ooh.
it's not, yes, I know, it's not children's fiction. Um, it's a memoir, and it's titled Beauty Behind the Hardware.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And it's
Tell
I
us more. Tell us more.
sure. So thank you. So I had, when I say a big girl book, now get your mind out of the gutter. It's not, 50 Shades of Grey or anything.
It's 50 Shades of Darla.
I know, right? Louise is back there smoking a cigarette. Oh, I want to know more about this book. Um, so I had a spinal fusion in my lower back. So I have titanium pins and rods there.
Wow.
9 months post fusion, and it's a year-long recovery. So the memoir has been so therapeutic, and I'm on the second rewrite. And thank you to all. I gave the manuscript to a few people who I entrusted with it, who gave me feedback. And
Hmm.
actually, I'm going to be writing today. But so it's a story that really begins 4 years before spinal fusion. when I was in the end zone of my life. I'd caught caught that football. I was doing great. I was making over $100,000 a year, and it's just super successful. And I called upon all those talents that I had developed throughout my life, and everything was fabs. And then over a 4-year period, the perfect storm of adversity just hit. Job loss and health crisis and car accidents and losing insurance, and kind of, that status quo, that bar that I had set years ago, right? That you see the character trying to maintain that. And then Louise, when the SIT just gets too, too tough to bear, she starts to question her life, and am I content? And is this the right life balance? And that leads all the way up to and past spinal fusion and into part of the recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, Darla, I have to say, we are Facebook friends, and we've known each other. We've known of each other really for several years, but we haven't really connected until probably the last 6-7 months.
Yes.
And what a delight to be able to start establishing this relationship with you. And I have been, but we watch the progression of what you do, and your diligence of your recovery. You are quite remarkable, and you give a lot of us a lot of encouragement and hope of, Darla's out there. She's working her butt off, and she is very diligent, and it's a great example to us of, it may be hard and it might be hurtful, but keep your eyes focused on moving ahead.
Oh,
and so
for that. And that was the idea when I created when I decided to put it out there, was that it would do that very thing. Keep other people motivated.
You are encouraging many of us, and you're such a great champion for so many of us, people who have you have a nice sphere of people around you, and you are very good in giving and encouraging to us too. So you do a lot of givebacks. So Darla, our time is coming to an end, but before we end, I want to give you an opportunity to share where we can find more about Miss Darla, Engage, and the Whip It series, and all of that good stuff.
I appreciate that, and thank you so much for this opportunity to to continue to communicate my new normal every day. That's really important. And I would hope that people just glean from this that, Louise, you had asked me before what I hope to leave them with, and that would be to stay connected and don't lose your purpose. It's really easy to do during a long recovery. And that just, ask for hugs, because you're going to need them for sure. And you owe me one.
I will give you one the next time I see you.
Okay. Sounds good. Gage the Flying Whip It series, you can learn more and you can purchase the books by going to my website, and that is thegageseries.com, and that's GAGE, thegageseries.com. Facebook, Gage the Flying Whip It. And if you'd like to follow my recovery, I'm on Instagram, and it's my new normal every day. And you can check me out there and comment and engage. I love that. It keeps me going. It keeps me motivated.
Yay.
So, yes, if you can purchase the books, you can go to the website and you can purchase the books through there. And I'm on Amazon as well, and I can provide you that link. So that's where you can find more about the Whip It and more about my new normal every day.
Yes, and don't worry about having to write down these links. I will be providing these links in the comment section below so that everybody can find them. So Darla's going to provide me with her links, and then I'm going to share them with you.
Thanks, Louise.
But anyways, well, Darla, thank you so much for for coming on today and being my guest. It has been an absolute pleasure to
Mhm.
have you on here. And I'm looking forward to keep growing together in
Yes.
our 50 plus adventures.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much, Louise. It was a blast. And the future is bright, my friend. The future is bright.
It is. It is. So, anyways, I am looking forward to it. We're in the second fabulous part of our lives, so we're going to
Rock
make
on.
it count. So,
Okay.
anyways,
Mhm.
everybody, thank you so much, Darla, and
Welcome.
thank you everybody who has joined us today. And like I said, if you want more information about Darla and her series, or to follow her on her social media accounts, I'll have the links below. And please share this broadcast with your friends.
Mhm.
And till next time, I will see you the next time I come on Wednesdays with Weezy. Until then, take care. Bye bye.